or that the big fish fell on top of the little fish and they just happened to land in the same spot. So how would I figure that out? So for this one, we have to use our imagination. We have to like sort of pull this out and think about it in a three-dimensional way, right? Yeah. So where would the little fish be in relation to the big fish? If the big fish swallowed it, where would it be?
In his stomach.
In its stomach, right? So, oh, what kind of bones? Ribs, right? So if the little fish is actually inside of the big fish, you would expect to see rib bones on either side of that little fish. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. There's a real problem with this, right? Mm-hmm. Because this fossil is stuck in 1.5 inches of plaster and has been put on a wall since 1952. It's before I was born. I think that was the year my mom was born. Were any of us around to know what this looked like when it was dug up?
No.
No, because this was dug up in 1952, right? But there is a way to actually figure that out. So what would you do if you were digging something up this cool? What would be one of the things you would do?
Never mind.
What are you doing right now?
Taking a video?
Yeah, well, okay. So you're using a camera, right? You're taking pictures. And that's what George would have done too back in 1952. He liked to take lots of pictures of the things that he dug up so he could document how he dug it up. And the way that these things are dug up, actually, the side that's facing you right now, when George dug it up, this is the side that was actually in the ground. So the first thing he uncovered was the other side. So if you look closely at those other pictures, you actually see that there are rib bones covering up the little fish. So the little fish is definitely inside of the big fish. Does that definitely mean that the big fish ate the little fish?
No.
No. Well, what other possibilities are there?
I never saw that.
Because if the big fish landed on the little fish, then its skin would go over it.
Maybe, but if one landed on top of the other, it would still be outside of the rib bones. Now, this guy is definitely inside of the body of the big fish. So does that definitely mean that the big fish ate little fish?
Yes.
Why do you think so? Because you can't just say yes because, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, certainly. It's not wrong. But how do you prove that beyond a doubt? This is where science gets a little hard.
Because it's like inside the stomach part of the big fish.
It is kind of where the stomach would be, but think about this. There are things out there called scavengers. Anybody know what a scavenger is? Like a vulture or a hyena?
Oh yeah.
What do scavengers do? Do they chase down their prey?
No.
No. What do?
They eat already dead stuff.
They eat already dead stuff. So what if this little fish was a scavenger and he was just really excited about what he found? He kind of found a way to tunnel inside the big fish and got stuck. We actually found a dinosaur that had a garfish inside of it that had done that. That was interesting. So it does happen. So this is where we have to really think about what happens when we eat. So what happens, let's say I managed to swallow a little sardine, right? I didn't have to chew it, I just swallowed it whole. And it got down to my stomach. What would happen? Would it just sit there?
No.
No, what would happen?
It would digest.
Okay, so that's a big word. Can you explain to me what that means?
It means like kind of like dissolve.
Okay, so what causes that? There's
The stomach acid.
stomach acid. So acid breaks things down, right?
Yeah.
It dissolves things away. So the way we would figure this out is actually we'd have to take a very close look, probably under a microscope, at the bones of the smaller fish. And if you knew something about bones, you know that bones are in layers, right?
Yeah.
So the outer layer of bones is the hardest. And what we'd find is actually the outer layer of bone of the smaller fish has actually been dissolved away. So it was actually starting to be digested by the big fish. So does that mean that the big fish ate the little fish?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because that means the little fish was definitely inside the stomach, and the stomach was starting to dissolve the little fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was starting to be digested. So we know that the little fish, which is called Gillicus, was on the menu for the larger fish, which is called a Xiphactinus. So is that all the information I can get from this?
No.
No, there's a little bit more in there. Now, if you look very, very closely at the teeth of the smaller fish, compare them to the teeth of the larger fish, how would you describe these teeth? Do they look like knives?
sharp.
They're sharp, definitely. They're cone shaped, but are they like knives?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
see any like knife edges on there? Come here and look closely. Do you see anything that looks like a knife on there? Think about what a knife looks like, right? It is definitely sharp.
No,
and
it's
pointy, but
too
then
straight.
Yeah, so
Too
those are
straight.
what those teeth are good for are for grabbing and holding. Has anybody tried to grab and hold a live fish?
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
Not very well.
Yeah, because fish are wiggly and they're strong and they're slimy and they're hard to hang on to. Now imagine that the only way you can grab and hold on to a fish is with your face, right? You would want really sharp, pointy holding and grabbing teeth, right? So if you look at the smaller fish in there, he's got similarly shaped teeth too. So suddenly what you've got is a food web. So you've got a fish that eats fish that eats fish. That's pretty cool. So let's go back to how old this animal is. This animal is between 80 and 70 million years old. Whoa. So suddenly we have a food web, bit of an ecosystem from a very, very long time ago, just from this one skeleton. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's go look at this mountain over here.
Why don't you just sit down so you're not trying to run. Just sit down.
You guys can kind of put it all the way over to this. Everybody can see pretty well. All right, so where do these big fish live?
In the
Ocean.
Well, yeah, in water, in a lot of water. In this case, it was an ocean. It was a very unique ocean because it was an ocean on top of a continent. That doesn't happen very often. But at the time, ocean levels had risen up, and water spilled onto the lowest part of the continent, which happens to be where we're at now. So there were lots of fish. So this is just an example. Again, shape and size of things is really important when all you have to work with are